I'll hit record and we'll fill for a minute and then we'll do a podcast about Tolkien and crap, what's the guy's name who made magic?
Richard Garfield.
Garfield. There we go. It's like Richard
The third.
Richard. Come on, brain.
I think your brain is skipping tracks, Yo. You might want to get that checked out.
I mean, yeah, get some toothpaste or something. How did you fix disc scratches back in the day? I never actually did.
I don't think I did. I think I bought new discs, which is probably not the best.
I don't know.
Yeah, Mike being
Let's
the
do
youngest one here is like, what are CDs? Like, shut up,
Oh,
Mike.
come on. I think that the reason light abrasives like toothpaste worked is because you were actually like removing a very thin layer and basically working down to the same level as the scratch.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, I make fun of Mike and CDs, but Mike has like a record collection, so...
And a CD collection.
Yeah, but that isn't funny to point out, so... Now, if you had an 8-track collection, that would be funny.
No.
I was thinking recently about like kids who don't know that things used to come on physical media, you know, movies and music and video games. And I'm like, when I was a kid, I knew that 8-tracks existed even though I'd never seen one. Like, why don't kids know about things that existed before them? Like, I listened to music that came out before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, where have we gone wrong that kids today just don't know about things that didn't exist before them?
I guess because they spend more time doing their own thing versus sitting around just listening to or watching whatever their parents are listening to or watching.
Oh, and now all the kids have their own screens.
Yeah, they have more independence in that respect. In terms of entertainment.
Anyway, we should actually start the podcast.
Let's do it.
Also, hey, Jay Spencer. All right, so here we go. Oh, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 679 of the Mana Pool, and I am Chewie, the rightful King of Gondor. Let's say.
Sweet.
Although I am the movie version, because I don't really want to be King of Gondor. Whereas the book version was like, yeah, I'm the King of Gondor, nerd, and the whole time. That whole conflicted about being king thing, nope, completely made up for the movie.
Yep.
I am joined by, let's see here. We've got... Hang on. I'm trying to figure out who would be who here. So we've got a Hobbit of the Shire, Brian.
I do like food, like a lot.
We've got everyone's favorite bearded dwarf, Mike.
I suppose.
And then we've got Dirk, who's just Dirk for some reason. I don't know. It's weird. Oh, wait. If Dirk is the greenest man alive, then he would be of the Woodland Realm.
He would be Treebeard.
Well, no, I was thinking an elf. But, I mean,
Okay.
he is kind of slow to respond, too. So Dirk would totally be in it.
It fits.
So, notice I took over the introductions because we don't have time. Because there's way too much stuff to talk about. So, Lord of the Rings. Okay, wait. It is Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond, The Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, I think is the full name of the set. Well, okay, not the name of the set, but the name of what it is.
Is there
Because
gonna be
it's not
a-
like regular sets are named Magic the Gathering : Magic : The Gathering : March of the Machine.
Remember how there was like an uncard that gave you bonuses for the number of words on a card or whatever? So they had some of the
Yeah.
cards with really long flavor text or whatever. Maybe they could do an uncard that, like, for every colon in this name, this card. Of course, this is the name of the set or product or whatever. This is a set, right? Not just like a product. This isn't like a secret layer.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Will they do pre-releases? I just don't get
Yeah, they'll do pre-releases.
Magic. Okay.
It's gonna
I
be
don't get-
it's gonna be legal in modern and legacy and vintage,
but not
For
standard.
some reason.
not
No.
standard. And I don't know about Pioneer and Historic.
I would guess not. Because those rotate, right?
I don't know. I think Pioneer is semi-eternal, kind of like modern is. Maybe one of them is.
This is how far like Magic formats have gotten from what we think about. We don't even know how any of this works.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and I just can't keep track because too many products.
All right, chat says that it's not going to be in Pioneer. Shifuji said it will be in Historic and Alchemy on Arena.
Okay.
So there you go. But anyway, let's get to it. We'll start with the mechanics as always, because there's really only the one that's new, like completely new. So it is the ring, and it tempting you. Which, all right. So the
Which
ring,
you would think would be a bad thing, but go ahead.
right? So
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of the ring tempts you on cards as just a thing, and that's the ring tempts you is sort of like Enter the Dungeon. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah. Enter the dungeon and take the initiative.
Yeah, it's just a little phrase that means a very specific thing. So, like we've got Call of the Ring here, which is an enchantment for 1 and a black that's rare, that says at the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. And it also says, whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, we'll get to that in a second, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Alright. Makes some amount of sense, I guess. So, when the ring tempts you, you get this emblem called the ring, weirdly enough. And it's got one of these little printed helper cards to show you, remind you of what this does, because much like Enter the Dungeon, it's not the sort of thing you'll just remember.
Right.
I mean, eventually you'll know all 4 of these without blinking, but whatever.
But right now, and yeah, I think the analogy to the dungeon cards is spot on. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you get the emblem, and the emblem gives you the first ability. Your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, which is pretty awesome. Now, when the ring tempts you, you have to choose a ring bearer. So, you choose a creature that you control to be your ring bearer. And if you already have a ring bearer, you can choose a new one. Or keep it the same. Whatever. And I don't know what it does if you don't have a ring bearer. I guess if you don't have any creatures, I guess it doesn't matter. Nothing happens.
Yeah, then the choosing part just kind of fails.
Yeah. And that is the ring bearer until you choose a different one, or it leaves the battlefield, or someone else gains control of it. It stops being your ring bearer, which is an important point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. The second time that the ring tempts you, whenever you get the ability, whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Nice. And then the third one, whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at the end of combat. Ooh. And then the fourth and final of the ring temptations is whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. Very multiplayer friendly there.
Yeah.
Neat.
So, when the ring tempts you, whatever your chosen ring bearer is just gets better and better and better. And yeah, that's that. It says the ring will gain its next ability even if you didn't control any creatures as the ring tempted you, meaning you didn't choose a ring bearer. Oh, okay, well that answers that question. I was looking for a specific paragraph, but nope, it was part of this paragraph. So, yeah, every time that the ring tempts you, you get an extra ability, and after the last one, well, it's all the way powered up. Yeah. So, that won't do anything else anymore. Oh, well, it will give you the option to change your ring bearer. Aha.
And it says you must choose a creature if you control one. So.
Yeah, so you can't be like, nah, you gotta pick one. Sorry. But not that there's any downside for the creature itself. Now, for the flavor here, Chifuji says in the chat, someone on Reddit pointed out, to the person being tempted, it's all upside. But to everyone else, you're painting a big fat target on your ring bearer. And that is not something I had thought of.
That's true. It is very much in the flavor of get that guy.
Yeah, because the ring is always trying to get away to get back to Sauron. And it's Sauron, by the way. Everybody say it with me. Sauron.
Sauron.
No. Sauron. Damn it, Mike.
Now, let me, I want to be clear about this, and maybe you said it, but I just want to make sure I'm getting how this works. If your ring bearer dies, you don't have to start over. You keep the abilities that it's already got, right?
Yeah, because the abilities go on the emblem.
Right. That's what I understand. And I'm sorry if you already said that. I'm just trying to wrap my head around this.
But you don't get to pick a new ring bearer, I don't think, until the ring tempts you again.
That's what this sounds like, yeah.
Yeah.
If you lose the one you got, then that's it for now. You need somebody to actually pick up the ring, which makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. So there you go. And the ring, of course, bestows great power upon the ring bearer, whether they choose to take advantage of it or not, you know. And the whole can't be blocked by creatures with greater power is really cool because, you know, all of the ring bearers that we saw in The Lord of the Rings. Now remember, when we say in The Lord of the Rings, we mean the books because that's what this is based on. None of this has anything to do with the movies. That's a completely separate thing, okay? Okay. But since all the ring bearers we saw were hobbits, it's really cool that it gives them evasion. It lets them sneak by most things because, you know, everything has more power than a hobbit.
It's true. I got into a discussion with somebody once when, you know, Lord of the Rings was really taking off while I was in high school and stuff like that, and they were like, does it just grant invisibility? And I'm like, they go to some pains to say that it gives power according to the person's stature. So for a hobbit, yes, it's going to make them invisible because that's, you know, that's part of the nature of hobbits. That doesn't mean if a human picked it up that they would be invisible. So a human would get other abilities.
Yeah, because when Galadriel is tempted, she doesn't turn invisible.
Right.
She would not have turned invisible.
And she and Gandalf were both like, don't tempt me with that. Like, literally, don't tempt me.
Yeah. So, Yeah, okay. Someone in the chat says it still seems like a flavor fail. And possibly, but you've got to remember, to the person being tempted, that's the whole point of temptation. It's showing you all of the good stuff. The Ring is like,
Yeah.
we've got like we got drinks and money and bitches and it's all over here and it's all for you. And you're like, nice. The Ring isn't gonna say, and you'll die. Like the Ring's not gonna say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the bad part of being tempted and corrupted was a major part of the Lord of the Rings trading card game, because it was like built into the structure of the game itself that was one of the ways to win or lose.
Yep.
But, that's not one of the things that are built in to the structure of Magic. If it's possible to just up and lose the game because you have the ring and you got tempted too many times, then people will just not play the ring. you know?
Exactly. So, yeah. I don't think it's a flavor fail. I think it's actually pretty good. You just have to put yourself from the right perspective.
Correct.
Because if you're looking at it from the perspective of, like, Gandalf, well, yeah, the ring tempting anybody is bad. But if you're looking at it from the point of view of the ring and the person it's tempting, ooh, it's so sexy.
Yeah.
Like, you want it. You really want it. And it takes conscious effort to be like, wait, no. So, yeah. But that's the Ring and how it works. It feels like one of those things that the first few times it's going to be confusing, and then after that, everyone will get the hang of it and go with it.
Much like
Excuse me.
Enter the Dungeon was, which that's not comparable for everything. I'm not trying to say that it, but it is a very, I think it's a very similar sort of learning curve, So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's the only completely brand new mechanic.
Correct. So hey, we've got there are a lot of things that care about the ring tempting you, and things that care about ring bearers, like our next card here. Hey, someone want to read the next card?
This is Sauron, the Necromancer.
Look
Did I
at you.
pronounce it correctly?
So proud of you.
So Sauron, the Necromancer.
Ah!
I'm kidding. For 3 and 2 black, this is a legendary Avatar horror. It's a 4/4 with Menace, and it's a rare from the set. Whenever Sauron, the Necromancer, attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard. Create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black Wraith with Menace. At the beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer.
Oh, that's cool. I hadn't actually read this card yet.
From a gameplay perspective, this is great. This is supposed to represent the wraiths are representing the necromancers, not the ring wraiths, the Nazgul, and Sauron. While he was kind of chilling for a bit, gaining back some of his power, was known in Mirkwood as the Necromancer, and they were not entirely sure that it was him until Gandalf heard word from there, and he's like, you know what? Yeah, either he went himself, and I think he went himself during the events of The Hobbit, and he's like, yeah, this is totally Sauron, guys. We're in some trouble here. But he was kind of laying low for a bit, so he was not back in Barad-dûr amassing power there. He was skulking in the shadows. So, gameplay perspective, this is pretty awesome. You have to have your own dead creatures, because this is exiling cards, creature cards from your graveyard, so you have to set it up a bit. But that's cool, because then flavor-wise, he's a necromancer. The whole point is bringing dead stuff back, but twisted.
Yeah, and someone in chat says that the ring's effects are pretty Hobbit specific because they're better on smaller creatures. And then he goes, see, like, why would you want a 4/4 as your ring bearer. And I think that's why it's got this line here at the beginning of your next M step: exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer, because they knew that you don't want this to be a ring bearer necessarily.
Yeah, it
So they gave
amplifies
it.
the necromantic power more. And
Yeah,
also, the second ring ability, the draw and discard a card, can help you keep a steady stream of dead creatures.
that's true. Yeah. So yeah, I think only the first ability is Hobbit specific. Like the rest of them work on pretty much any kind of creature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Sauron's cool. Now we have a returning ability that's been changed a bit,
Yes.
and it's a mass.
Yeah.
I completely forgot a mass.
A mass was in War of the Spark, and only War of the Spark.
Yeah,
So,
and you amassed, what were they?
I
Skeletons?
think it was army tokens. I don't know that were they zombies.
Oh, there might have been zombies. Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I'm an idiot. I was thinking of something completely different. So yeah, a mass was okay. So mass is you put a +1/+1 counter on an army you control. If you don't control an army, then you create a 0/0 army and then put however many +1/+1 counters on it, and it would say like a mass 2. So you would put 2 counters on your army, and they were zombies. But now in this set we have a mass orcs and a number opening up, and they said that the old ones will be retconned, or what's the word?
I mean, um,
Errata.
Eroded. Thank you.
Yes.
Will be eroded
Took
to
us
amass zombies and a number instead of just amass a number. So this one makes them orcs. So you're amassing an orc army, and that's it. It's very simple. So if you've already got an army, you put counters on it, and if you don't, then you make a 0/0 and put counters on it. Ding.
Nice.
Very simple. And if you've got more than one, then you pick one to put. Like if you've got shapeshifters, for instance, it says here. So if you've got your army token that was amassed and a shapeshifter that has all creature types, including army, well then you can pick one to put counters on. It's not always just the token. Makes sense? Makes sense.
Makes sense.
And then we've got Gothmog here, who I sort of forgot was in the books.
He's mentioned, I think, only once, and then he's not mentioned again, I think.
Yeah. But, like, in the movie, the guy that they made to be Gothmog, I knew who he was, so I must have known Gothmog from the books. Because I don't think that guy's name ever got said. Even in the extended editions, I don't think his name ever got said.
No, there are lots of people like that.
So yeah, Gothmog, real quick for... Oh, he's a human? Oh god, I'd forgotten about that. That's weird. So Gothmog Morgul Lieutenant, for 3 and a black, is a 3/3 legendary human soldier. And when he enters the battlefield, you amass orcs 1. But also, creature tokens you control have death touch.
Ooh. Wow. So that's one of those cards that, yes, this fits well into this particular archetype, but also opens up lots of other options with just token decks in general. That's the kind of card design I like because it extends past this set. It's kind of the opposite of Splice with Arcane. You know, it's more like Splice with Instant, which I like. I don't remember enough about this guy to say how much this is a flavor win or loss, to be 100% honest. So I'll trust you guys on that.
Yeah, he's a lieutenant. He makes orcs, an orc army. Yeah, it makes sense. Sure.
Yeah, okay. I have read the books. I've not read the Silmarillion, but I've read the Lord of the Rings books, The Hobbit, and I've read some other works by Tolkien that were set in Middle Earth, but I have not read them all, so I'm not going to remember.
Oh,
every
dude.
name.
Do you want to... I think I still have it. Do you want to borrow Smith of Wutan Major and Farmer Giles of Ham? Like, to read to Sam? They're
Maybe.
they're like two shorter stories that
Maybe.
were
I'll get back to you on that.
like more kid friendly or
I
something.
I can't see
When
why
I
not.
when I got rid of a bunch of the Tolkien books that I realized I was never going to read, I kept that one. I can see it from here.
Okay. Remind me later.
Anyway,
so
yeah,
that
here's our orc army. They're so cute.
Yep.
Let's say.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it almost makes you overlook the fact that, they're actually murderers.
Well, yeah.
But, yeah. And then all the other mechanics are just straight up returning mechanics, right?
Yep. So food is back in a big way because hobbits.
Because hobbits.
Mm-hmm.
And also because of this card. I'm so happy that Bill the Pony has a card. Because I remember saying, if there's not a Bill the Pony card in the set, then somebody and I are going to have words. And look, there he is.
See, for me, there better be a card named Simply Walk into Mordor with no cost that can't be played. But that to each of us their own. So, different standards.
So who wants to tell us
Bill's
what Bill does?
Well, Bill
I've
the
already
Pony.
taken Sauron, so go ahead.
Bill the Pony for 3 and a white is a 1/4 legendary creature horse that's uncommon. When Bill the Pony enters the battlefield, create 2 food tokens.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Sacrifice a food until end of turn. Target creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power.
So
On a 1/4, that's pretty good.
yeah, I have no idea how to judge the flavor on this one because Bill was literally just the pony that carried their stuff until they got to Moria and had to send him back. And he ended up hanging out with Tom Bombadil, I think, for the rest of his days.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, good.
It's funny because Bill is named after, like, the worst person in the world. Bill Fernie is a traitor and tried to sick a Nazgul on them.
He's got a
And
card,
ended
too.
up Does he? I haven't seen it yet.
I don't think it's in the
And-
card image gallery. I think it was shown today. But,
It's in the card image gallery. I saw it when I was skimming real quick
oh, good.
before we started.
But
Then I guess maybe it wasn't shown today. It just showed up in the Discord today. Whatever. But yeah, Bill is the best boy, and I'm so happy that he's here. And he gives... You can eat a food and then fight with your ass, and that's just cool. And yes, Bill the Pony was a named character, so Bill the Pony is legendary.
yes.
That's how it works. If it's a named character, it's legendary. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Like we said earlier, Gothmog had like a mention, maybe 2 in the books, and look, here he is, legendary character. So, like, there are a bunch of non-legendary characters who are not named. So, I'm pretty sure that's how they went with the set. Also, you could make a Bill the Pony commander deck, which is all anyone ever needs. Land cycling is back at least a little bit. I don't know how much of it there is, but we've got the Oliphant here. The Oliphant is such a great card design. I mean, it's a common. Like, this is a draft card, and it's a damn good one, I think.
Yeah.
Wait. Has anyone not read a card yet?
I don't
Mike.
think I have.
Okay, Mike, tell us what the Oliphant does.
All right, the Oliphant is with the way they describe this, I assume it's part of a common cycle. So it costs 5 and a red. We'll see what the others are later, I guess. It is a common elephant. It's a 6/4 with trample, so it's 6/4 with trample for 6. Feels pretty good. Whenever Oliphant attacks, another target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn.
That's just gross on a common.
That's fun. And the mountain cycling just costs 1. So in this set, these basic land cycling abilities, they say here in this paragraph, just cost 1, which is pretty amazing.
I think previously it cost 2, didn't it?
Yes, 2.
Yeah. So this is gross on a common, dude.
Yeah.
Like I love it.
6-4 for 6 with trample just on its own is already pretty darn ridiculous.
I mean,
It's not
it's a crawl
stupidly
worm.
broken.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's a
Does
crawl
crawl
worm with
have
trample.
trampler?
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a
No,
crawl
crawl
worm
worm
with
does not have
trample,
trample.
and then it gives something else a power boost and trample, and has mountain cycling. It's just good lord, poor crawl worm sucks.
And giving, yeah, well, it tried. Giving trample is still kind of hard to come by.
Did
I mean,
it
was even-
though?
It was even more so back in the day, but it's still not easy.
Yeah. So I love it. Plus, Master Frodo, it's an Oliphant. All right, and Saga's return. Because you have to have sagas in this set. Like, they already said there's no battles, which is weird, but Lord of the Rings is one of the things that defines it is how much they tell stories about other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of lore.
yeah. And that's what sagas are, so it makes perfect sense. And this one is a really funny take on sagas, I think. So, hey Dirk, you're an int. Why don't you tell us about this?
Long list of ints. So this is a saga. It is uncommon, and it costs 1 green. Just a green is all it costs. So as it enters, you progress through the steps by adding a lore counter. This one has 6 steps, but there's just the same thing for each one of the steps.
Yep.
So what it says is, note a creature type that hasn't been noted for long list of the ints. When you cast your next creature spell of the type this turn, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it.
So, yeah. And I just realized this is not a flavor fail. I was about to say this is a flavor fail because the ints are all the same type, but this isn't a list of ints that exist. This is the ints list of things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because he was Treebeard was a
Had to go have a meeting to figure out what exactly the hobbits were. They had to go through their list.
Yeah.
Treebeard was like, you're not on the list. You're either orcs or you're not orcs, and they're like, we're not orcs. And he's like, sounds like something an orc would say.
You sure you're not an orc? It's like, we don't smell that bad, do we? So yeah, this actually is perfect. Because in the Discord it was pointed out, oh, it's too bad because, the ints are all tree folk. And I was like, yeah, but it just clicked as I was about to say that out loud, that's not at all what this is. Nice.
So you say elf, and then your next spell, as long as you play an elf, gets a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yep.
Then you say int.
Well,
You
tree
play
folk.
your next spell, or tree folk. You say you play that, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it.
Yeah. But you can't play this in a, like a tribal deck because it won't work because you have to pick a different one each time because they're naming different things.
Yeah. You might be able to squeak by with elf, warrior, shaman,
Shaman?
but eventually you'll run out.
Then you'll draw a bunch of elves that don't have jobs and you'll curse at them.
Go get a job.
So yeah, there we go. Sagas are back. There's a bunch. And then Historic is back, which Historic just means artifacts, sagas, and legendary things.
Yeah, like when it was introduced in Dominaria.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's That's it,
And
right?
for,
It's oh,
yeah,
it says
and
it
for
right
some
here.
reason, they show examples that do not use that word. So,
Well, I think it's showing an artifact just because they hadn't shown off an artifact yet. Was my take here,
yeah,
and then a legendary creature.
yeah.
It's like, look, these are historic. That's all I could think of because you're right. Neither of these do anything with historic.
Because when they would reference historic, it already spells out what the thing is that they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, in reminder text, usually, unless there's not room. So, you know what? I'm gonna take both of these. So, Wizard's Rockets, for one, is a common artifact. Enters the battlefield tapped. Nice and simple. I hit the microphone. You can pay X, tap and sack Wizard's Rockets to get X mana in any combination of colors. So it's a filter. And you can when Wizard's Rocket is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. So this is actually could say pay one, draw a card. Because X can be 0, because it doesn't specify that it can't.
Yeah. It enters the battlefield tapped to protect.
Oh, it
against,
enters tapped. You
yeah,
did
to protect
catch me
against that
there.
exploit. Uh-huh.
So this could say pay one, draw a card. It's a cantrip. Pay one, draw a card next turn.
Yeah.
But it's also a mana filter for X mana,
Right.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and forcing that draw to come later is a pretty big knob to turn on in terms of power. Like that puts it in a totally different class versus something like, Prophetic Prism or something like that, where you get the card right away.
Yeah. It's okay. That's the Wizard Rockets. Because Gandalf's rockets were known for their colors. Like,
Yep.
so that's what it does.
Colors.
And then Gandalf the White. I have not read this card, which is why I wanted to read it. Gandalf the White, for 3 white, is a 4/5 Avatar Wizard. Now, you might be wondering, why is he an Avatar Wizard? And it's the same reason that Sauron's an Avatar, because they're actually a
My art.
Yeah, wizards in Lord of the Rings are not just old men that know magic. They're a separate thing entirely. As Dirk said, they're Maiar, which are, to put it in terms that people would more easily understand in the United States, they're essentially angels
Kinda, sorta, yeah.
that have
Yeah,
been given
sort of.
flesh and given a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the minor gods of like Greek mythology or
Yeah.
Roman mythology.
So that's why Gandalf and Sauron and I think Saruman are all Avatar something. So yeah. They're a separate type of being entirely. They're not just old dudes what know how to make pretty colors and zap your dumbass. So, he's a 4/5 for 5. He's mythic. He's legendary, of course. And he has flash, because Gandalf the White just shows up. You may cast legendary spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Okay. Interesting. And if a legendary permanent or an artifact entering or leaving the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
That is a word salad, yes.
I do not see the flavor on that one at all.
I think this
Works
is
well
more
with
of
the
just
rockets.
here's a really cool thing we can do, but
I mean, it is very powerful.
Gandalf's role through both The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is to really move the story forward. He shows up, he gets the plot going. He then leaves for most of the time until he comes across a threat like the Balrog or the Necromancer that only he can handle, and then he leaves and he comes back when the plot needs him to.
Yeah, he's not
So
out there, doing stuff. He's out there pushing, like nudging other people to do stuff. He's like, hey, hobbits, you should probably, do a thing. And the hobbits are like, yeah. And then he goes, hey, Theoden, we're gonna need you, man. You need to snap out of it. And Theoden's like, yeah. And then he goes, hey, Denethor, why don't you shut the hell up and do something? And Denethor's like, nah. So Gandalf's like, fine, I'll do it. Like,
yeah. So so his thing here having to do the legendary spells and artifact spells uh is, to me, if I'm trying to link it up flavor wise, is more of a his whole thing is to get the people together, is to get the name characters together to make the plot happen. So he strengthens and empowers those characters to do what they need to do. That's what I got for it.
that is a good rationalization. I like it. I mean, for a card like this, we're probably going to have to reach, but I think that's probably the least amount of reaching. So, because he flits around from legendary creature to legendary creature and nudges them. Makes things happen.
There you go.
Yeah. And then apparently stun counters are back, but I haven't even noticed those, so that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I've read a card with this yet.
Yeah. So remember, stun counters are counter you can put on permanents, maybe just creatures. I think it's just creatures.
Oh.
I don't know, because it says if a tapped creature. So, but whatever. If a tapped creature has a stun counter on it, then that means it doesn't untap, and instead you just remove a stun counter. Nice and simple. So then the next time it would untap, if there's no stun counter, it does untap. See? Nice and simple.
Probably best that they not be allowed to interact with, I don't know, lands, because stasis. And you know who misses stasis? Monsters.
I was just going to say, terrible, terrible people. So, all right. That's the mechanics. Nice, and one confusing thing that I'm sure we'll all get used to. One slight change, and then a bunch of old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and simple. So let's get to the card image gallery and start poking around.
All right.
How do we want to? I don't even know how to do this.
I mean, there's so much.
Right. Okay. Tell you what. Let's jump down to the lands that didn't load. There we go. Let's jump down to the lands, because these lands are actually really cool, but very simple. So first up, let's do the simple one. Shire Terrace. It's common land. It taps for colorless. You pay 1, tap and sack it to go get a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped. That's a it's not Terramorphic Expanse. It's the one that they made to replace that, because you have to pay mana for this, and I can never remember what it's called.
Because I know what you're talking about. I can't quite picture it.
I'm not getting there.
But even so, it's a basic land fetch, nice and simple. And Shire Terrace, it's very pretty. I don't know what that has to do with fetching basic lands, but not everything is going to be a flavor freaking home run. It is not Evolving Wilds either, because Evolving Wilds is Terramorphic Expanse.
Yeah, Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse are literally the same card.
Yeah, this is the one after that that's more recent, because I've never actually held one in my hands. So these 5 legendary lands here, what do we? They all enter the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature, because this is a very legendary centric set, clearly.
Yeah. If there's a blue one in this cycle, I guess we don't have it yet.
What? Oh.
Yep.
Isn't there a blue one?
I would think there should be, but not in the card image gallery.
I could have sworn I saw 4 of these and one of them was, or 5 of these and one of them was blue. Maybe I just saw... No, because Mountain Doom isn't here. I could have sworn I saw 5 of these. Maybe not.
you told yourself you did, so
I mean, it's magic, so my brain automatically sees 5 of everything.
it's true.
Yeah.
So they all tap for the appropriate color of mana. Barad-dûr is black, Minas Tirith is white, the Mines of Moria are red, and the Shire is green. Okay. But then they all have another ability that is very flavor. Isn't it Orthanc? Is that what it is? Oh god. Okay, anyway. They all have an ability that's very, tied to the flavor. So yeah, for instance, Barad-dûr is XX black and tap to amass orcs X, but only if a creature died this turn. I'm not entirely sure why. I guess so it wouldn't be, super busted, but
Yeah, that'd be way too easy if there wasn't any prerequisite. If you could just keep doing that every turn.
yeah. So okay, take the next one, somebody.
All right, Minas Tirith, the white one. Its ability is 1 white and tap. Draw a card. Activate only if you attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn.
I don't get that one either.
You get rewarded for sending your army out to do stuff.
Hey, there we go.
I mean, yeah.
And getting involved in battles and stuff.
Yeah. Heroes get the glory. Let's say. All right. Brian?
The Mines of Moria enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary creature. Tap for red, or pay 3 in a red. Tap and exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Create 2 treasure tokens.
That's pretty cool.
You want to delve really deep, if you can help it.
Yeah, you're digging deep for treasure.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's no, if your graveyard is empty after this, your opponent summons a Balrog.
Yeah. We dug too greedy and too deep. No.
So the Shire.
Will there be a Smog card? A Schmog? Or how do you pronounce his name?
Smaug, and there's
Smog.
there's a token. Because he's not in Lord of the Rings, but he's part of a saga.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a saga that's in the commander, one of the commander decks.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So the Shire has all the fun stuff. That was in it.
Yep.
It taps for green. For 1 and a green, tap an untapped creature you control. Create a food token.
Because farmers. Hey.
Yep. Yeah, that one's easy. I feel like this one will be important. Like repeatable food has caused some issues.
Well, Oko was a problem for all sorts of reasons. We can't let Oko color our food.
The golden
opinion.
goose too, at least in standard. I guess the golden goose hasn't broken into any of the
Yeah,
formats.
but would the golden goose have been as good without Oko? Because that's kind of the problem.
It remained good.
But there's a lot of food in this set, so.
Oh yeah, it a little while ago, when we were still talking about the mechanics article, it struck me that food is historic since they're artifact tokens. So pay attention.
Oh, wow.
Hey guys, you remember that burger I had yesterday? Historic.
I mean, I have had some historic food in my days.
It's true.
I mean, Brian knows, because the steak and the cheese soup at the place in Canada in Disney World.
Yeah. Cillier.
There we go, Le Cellier, yeah. That
with
is
the
historic
pretzel
food.
bread.
Oh, with the
Yes.
pretzel bread. Oh my god.
Yes. Oh dang it! Now I gotta go back.
Did I ever tell you that Megan like found a recipe for the cheese soup and made it a couple times when I had gone to visit?
You did not.
It was really good.
And there was the place as well. Was it Wolfgang Puck where they had the Strupen, not the Strupen waffle, the food you had the first day, and you were like, wow, this is really authentic. And you named it as a German dish or Austrian dish.
Oh right, I had oh god,
Yes, that one.
schnitzel. There we go. Sorry.
Schnitzel, yeah. Yes, the schnitzel.
Anyway,
Yes. Food. Historic food.
historic food. I had a bison steak once at Lex's uncle's. Oh my god. Anyway, and then there's one more legendary land that we have, and it's of course, it's Mount Doom.
Mount Doom. And it hurts you.
And it hurts you because of course it does. So for tap and pay one life, you can get a black or a red. Because Painland. All right, makes sense. For one, a black and a red and tap, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Because volcano. And then the flavor thing here, for 5, a black and a red and tap, and sacrifice Mount Doom, and a legendary artifact. You choose up to 2 creatures, then destroy the rest. Activate that only as a sorcery, of course. So it's Frodo and Sam surviving the eruption, I assume.
Yeah.
And everybody else dies that's nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Which
We
is
might
pretty
have talked
awesome.
about this. This feels like we might have talked about this last time if it was one of the first cards previewed. I feel like we might have. After
Possibly.
that discussion about the two surviving. But maybe I'm wrong.
So yeah, and then the basics are very pretty, of course, because, well, they're basics in a Magic set, but also they're based on Tolkien, so
Yeah.
they are glorious. Holy crap! Dirk, you were almost right. Okay, chat. I want you to look at the backdrop here that I picked for this episode. See, we've got people here, and over there's the White City. Okay, see that? And then, for those of you listening in audio form, I'm very sorry. Go to YouTube and check it out. But then this plains right here. There's Gandalf and some sheep for some reason, looking down over a large plain. Like I guess back there's the Pelennor Fields, and this is one of the villages on the outskirts. And I think that's the White City there in the background, isn't it? Am I the only one seeing this?
Maybe.
Yeah, I see it. I see what you're talking about. Sorry, I was muted for a second.
And when I sent the dorks that one, and I was like, hey, should I use this image for the backdrop? Dirk was like, that looks like a land. I wonder if we'll get a plains of that. I'm like, well, this isn't magic art. And then, bam, it's sort of almost is.
It's magic-esque.
He did say it's magic-esque. And, yeah. So, okay, we've got, I think that's what that is. That's, the plains of Gondor. And then we've got the Shire. And then the islands, this is the
Anduin.
the Anduin, thank you, the Great River. And then over here is the waterfall, the Forbidden Waterfall and the Forbidden Pool here where Gollum got snatched.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first swamp is the Great Marsh. Is that what's it called?
It's just called the Dead Marshes.
The Dead Marshes, yeah, because of all the little lights.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll sink down into the swamp and light a little light of your own. And then this one has got to be the one that the hobbits and Strider went through, because it's the only other swamp that I can think of.
Yeah.
And then for the mountains, this one looks like they're trying to get over
Caradhras.
thank you, Caradhras. And then this one is the
Probably Mordor.
just the mountains
like,
around Mordor. And for the forest, this one is clearly Fangorn. Oh, there's figures in the back. Oh yeah, that's Legolas and Aragorn and Gimli, I think.
Yeah, there's people walking around in each of them.
So yeah, that's Fangorn, and then this one is probably the old forest outside of the Shire. Yeah, because there's people on horses back there. Ooh, I love it. And like I could tell what these were. I was not reaching for any of these. I didn't have to think about it very hard. Oh. Also because Tolkien loved describing the damn scenery.
Yeah. But to be fair, when he was writing this, what, in the 40s and 50s? So he had to be descriptive. Movies were kind of just becoming a thing. So he was really trying to create... The world building was a big part of it. It was about 75% of it.
I was to say, the world building was the main point of it.
But,
Yeah.
but if you can get through all that, it's still really good.
Oh, yeah.
You can visualize it. You just have to, kind of get through it at points.
It's all right.
He was not a natural writer, so
let's get into some of these. We talked about Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
Before. Weirdly. Should we do... Oh, God. Should we do the Black Strider discussion?
I mean, oh, look.
Might as well.
Okay.
An Aragorn with a darker complexion. How controversial? Yeah.
Whoop. Why am I on screen? Hang on.
Chewie with a darker complexion. How
only because I have the wrong light on. So I don't know what the art is that was shown. It's the one with Aragorn holding a very magic-y Anduril. And they tweeted it. Like Magic tweeted the art. And of course, the closed-minded dickheads immediately wanted to like jump on it with, this engine is woke. And and okay. So let's get something clear here. Aragorn's race, as far as color of his skin, did not matter to the story. What mattered was that he was of the race of Numenor. He was, he had the blood of Numenor in his veins. So, whatever color his complexion is, literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay. There are some characters where their race matters. It's like part of their character. Like Black Panther, which all of the racists like to point out, well, what if they made a white Black Panther? You're an idiot.
Yeah, that really would not make any sense.
Like, here's a character who's white, whose race matters. Danny Rand, Iron Fist. His whole point was that he was a white dude who ended up in the hidden city of Kunlun and ended up becoming the Iron Fist. Like, they could make that any other character, but they could not make, or any other race, except for, Kunlunian, whatever that's based on. So, like...
Yeah,
but the fact that he was, like, the rich white boy who also was there and also ended up being the thing is part of what makes his character important. So, like, when the Iron Fist show came out, they're like, why didn't they make him Asian? Well, because he's a white guy. Like, it's part of the point, is that he's an outsider who ended up being the Iron Fist, and that pissed people off. That's the point I'm trying to get at.
Right.
But Aragorn is not one of those. Okay? Okay. Another thing, if people wanted to throw out to not sound racist, is, well, what about being true to the character? Stay true to the source material. And this sets off bells because, like, did they freak out when Aragorn had a beard in the movie, because Aragorn didn't have a beard in the book. I'm pretty sure one of the things about Numenorians is they can't grow beards. I don't think that's in Lord of the Rings, but I think that's a thing. I could be wrong on that. But like, they didn't cry when Sam Gamgee was white as hell Sean Astin, because Sam Gamgee is described many, many, many times as having brown skin. Like, he just is. And a bunch of the hobbits are brown skinned. They just are. But in the movies, all the hobbits were white. Did anybody freak out about that? Like, all the hobbits that you see are white. It was weird. So, no, they didn't freak out about that, which means true to the source material, that ain't it either. So,
A couple of years ago, they made the Dark Tower into a movie, and they changed quite a bit to try to fit it into one movie, and they cut out. The Dark Tower is a 7/8 book series by Stephen King, and the main character is Roland the Gunslinger, and he's described in the books basically as Clint Eastwood back in his prime days.
yep.
And that's how he's described in the books. And one character actually compares him a bit to Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Terminator, but more for like the absolute cold killer look to this guy. But he's never described as being black. And for the movie, they cast Idris Elba because he's a badass, and he did a great job with it. And people were like, "Oh, this is terrible." Stephen King himself was like, "No, I signed off on this. He's freaking fantastic. Go watch the movie." And people were still like, but, and I can't remember what the response was to like the actual author of the book coming in saying he was okay with it. Like, what argument else they could have? But
Yeah.
you know, they still
This happened
did,
with
so.
the Sandman too. When they're
did?
like, "Oh, you made John Constantine a woman? Is Johanna Constantine? That's lame." And Neil Gaiman was like, that was my idea."
And sadly, we don't have Tolkien here to approve or disapprove of this.
No, but this product was made in conjunction with whatever the name of the company is that owns it. Is Middle Earth Enterprises, I think. So they had to sign off on it. So the rights holders were like, "Yeah, do that."
But my racism.
Exactly. And there's so many, and I noticed, okay, I went through the replies to that tweet to expand my block list, but I wasn't just blocking people willy-nilly. Like, I would open up their profile and see if they were terrible people before I blocked them. And to a T, 100% of the type of people who would respond this way to a Twitter account, or to a tweet, all of them had things in their profile like, "Transing kids is evil." I'm like, okay, so you're a bad person. Also, happy Pride, by the way. Hey, Pride started today.
Nice. Should be all the time, but you know.
It's weird that you mentioned that, because I went to change all of the Manipool icons on all the social media accounts to the rainbow-colored one, and they were all still Pride from last year, except for the Twitter one, because I had changed my Twitter profile picture to something else like several months ago. And then when I went to change it back, I was on my phone and didn't have the Pride version, so I just put the black and white one back up. But for all of the others, is hey, Pride all year.
Yeah.
But anyway, every one of them had like, okay, this is a family show, crappy opinions about things. Like, they were all super against like LGBTQ people, or there was some like anti-Semitic stuff, or there was some "we hate brown people" stuff, or there was some "we support fascism" stuff, or every single one. So, like, if you have that opinion of, well, he shouldn't be black, and you don't consider yourself like a racist or a bigot, maybe think about it, because like a bunch of the people who are very hardcore, he shouldn't be black, are extremely racist and bigoted people. So, and a bunch of people who don't think he should be, it matters if he's black, are not.
I to be absolutely fair, here's what I would say is, if you feel like it really is a problem, take more than just a second and ask yourself why. Just why? Just as a thought exercise, just why does this bother you so much? Just do that, and then use the time for self-reflection.
Did you read the ramble I had about this in the Discord?
I haven't.
Well, no, Brian.
I doubt he did, but I was also just chiming in.
I'm still saying no. Can you not hear me?
Oh, now I can. Yeah, you were just quiet there for
weird.
a while.
I was saying no a couple times. I'm
because
like,
I totally said that in the sensitive topics channel in the Discord about like, okay, I was raised in the South. There was a lot of racism in my upbringing, and there was a time in my life, which is more recent than I would have liked to admit, when I would have said something like, Aragorn wasn't black, that's stupid. And like, I don't I am not a racist, but at some point in my past, I did what Brian just said, and I did that. Why does this bother me? And I realized it didn't. I was just programmed. Not that sounds way more sinister. But like, I was just
repeating stuff that you had heard.
Yeah, like that's just the thought process that was in my upbringing. Was, well, white things should stay white, and why are they taking something that belongs to us? And
trust me,
that's not that's not good.
I heard a lot of in my upbringing. Not this. That makes it sound like it's my parents. I heard a lot in my youth about reverse discrimination, and I look back now and I'm like,
what is reverse? Is that the being racist against white people?
basically.
Oh yeah, that crap that they're still spewing these days.
It's kind of like the war on Christians and Christmas and all that good stuff. When a segment of the population that has been controlled for literally forever starts to see rights being given to other people and immediately feels threatened, therefore victimizing. Yeah. So.
And yes, as someone in the chat pointed out, you grow. I expanded my friends and my world, and that is exactly what happened. I went to college, and my roommate, my sophomore year, was a gay black man. And that made me realize just how closed-minded I was. So, like, when these guys met me, I was freshly, I guess, woke. Not in the bad way, like this engine is woke. But so, yeah. I did. I expanded my worldview and learned to look at things from a perspective other than mine. And I'm not saying that if your gut reaction is, well, Aragorn should be white because he's white, like, that you're a racist. I'm not saying that. But like Brian said, take a minute. Think about why that bothers you and do some like real introspection, because it shouldn't be a problem that this fictional character is being represented a different way in a stupid card game. Like, if it really bothers you that much, just don't buy it. You've still got... That's the other thing. It does not invalidate other interpretations of Aragorn. The fact that this version of him is black. We've still got the books where he's whatever. You've got the movies where he's Viggo Mortensen and insanely sexy. You've got the terrible Ralph Bakshi animated movie where he was voiced by John M. effing Hurt, may he rest in peace, and he was awesome, even though he was extremely skinny and kind of weird looking.
That was it was a good movie, but not in like the conventional sense of the word good.
Sure, we'll go with that. Like, I love it. I grew up with it, but it's not good. So yeah, like I didn't mean for this episode to do this right in the middle, but like this is an important place where you can maybe do some evolving as a person. And if it just comes up that you just can't accept it, well, okay, but just keep that to yourself. Don't go on to Twitter replying to everybody, oh, shut up. Opinions, as the saying goes, are like assholes. We all have one, and they all stink. So try to find something better to do with your life. Like blocking the people that do that on Twitter. Anyway, that's been in my head ever since they tweeted that picture. This whole conversation. So yeah, it's like I keep telling Dirk about the whole Star Wars splitting the canon thing. Just because there's this new stuff that you might not necessarily like as much as the old stuff doesn't mean that the old stuff has been deleted. It's still there. You can see Strider in your mind's eye as Viggo Mortensen all day if you want. It's fine. But like, Also, another thing that popped in my head when I was a kid. Okay, look, I am a redheaded, blue-eyed, left-handed person, right? I am like a tiny percentage of the population, but I'm white. So everybody in all of the media that I watched was me. Like, they were all white. They just were, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So that, like, when I would see someone that was, like, a ginger, like, redheaded, I could be like, hey, he's like me. Because I had my pick and choose of people that I wanted to see myself in, because they were all white. So I had to get very specific. You know, if I saw, like, Link is, for the most part, until the freaking Wii happened, and then it switched, Link was canonically left-handed. All of the incarnations of Link were left-handed, and that made me, like, happy. Because, hey, look, someone who's prominent in media that's left-handed. That's cool, and it's, like, part of what he does. That's cool. Like, Archie, I really liked... Yeah, they switched it for
Skyward Sword, for motion controls, since most people are right-handed.
Yeah,
so.
And even before that, the other one that was on both. What was the one before Skyward Sword?
The Dark of Darkness.
Twilight
Princess. Yes, on the Wii version, because it was mirrored. So the Wii version was right-handed, but the the GameCube version was left-handed. Mm-hmm. So very strange. But like, I was into Archie comics when I was a kid, because he had red hair and he had two hot chicks that were fighting over him. This is amazing. I had one of those things going for me. But like I said, because I'm white, I had my pick. Like, I could choose to identify with anybody, you know. Oh yeah, Spider-Man. He's a nerdy white dude like me. Nailed it. But like, there are a lot of people who don't have that. And that's why you keep seeing posts on social media about, like, you know, I took my kid to see Black Panther, and look, there's this whole superhero movie about people like them, and that means something to those people. And if you like, well, if they have to see themselves, and it's because you're spoiled for choice. You didn't have to, like, oh, well, they're all white. That's the whole point of the whole representation and diversity thing, is to let other people who aren't spoiled for choice see themselves in media. Like, you've had your whole life being the main character in all the things. Shut up. And you're like, well, what about white kids nowadays? They're still, like, mostly white people. Shut up. Anyway, this is something I feel very strongly about because, like, all of the arguments against it are just, I can't say that on the show, are just stupid. There's going to be an adjective there. It started with an F. You could figure it out. Or is that an adverb? It was modifying stupid. So yeah, it's an adverb.
Yes.
But, yeah, like The Little Mermaid is black. All right. So it's a live action Disney movie. So for people, you know, that are above the age of whatever, it's not going to matter. But think of the little black girl who's going to go see it in the theater. That's going to be amazing to her. Shut up. Anyway, I think that's all of the ranting I was going to do. Sorry to monopolize so much of the show, but like it's been bugging me for days. Donovan Bain said 36. Last year I was represented in 37 movies. Yeah, exactly. So, do you guys have anything to add or contradict or anything about that, or feel free, by the way?
No. I had a funny thought, but Little Mermaid. If mermaid legends were inspired by dolphin or manatee sightings, then darker skinned mermaid seems more accurate.
Yeah. It's true. Dirk, are you awake? You just been muted this whole time?
No, I'm awake and everything.
Oh, okay.
You guys are just covering everything that I agree with, so.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, it has been thoroughly discussed.
Like, we are all here, like, heterosexual, cis white men. So, clearly, we are the leading authority to talk about this sort of thing, as we are to talk about everything. But
Most
since
of the
so many
world is
people...
most of the world is set up to make our lives easier.
Yeah. But since so many people don't want to listen when minorities say things, I guess we'll say it, because we have an audience. And maybe you'll start listening to minorities about this sort of thing.
Hopefully.
Once again, happy Pride, everybody. If Frodo wasn't gay, he was bisexual, by the way. I'm just saying. Because Frodo never did marry. That sounds like Frodo never had sex with Mary. No. Frodo never did get married. There we go. Right?
Correct.
No.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, it was
And Sam, you know, he had Rosie when he got home, but, you know. In the movies anyway, you know.
Wasn't there a bit in Clerks 2 about that?
Yeah, but that was more derisive than inclusive. Yeah. But yes. Randall is a massive, horrible person.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, let's get back to the cards then, shall we?
Right.
This concludes the specifically and only woke section. The whole show is woke, but that section was only woke. So, all right, let's since we talked about Black Aragorn, who wants to read Aragorn the Uniter? Because this is it's just a neat card.
I like this card, and this is everything I would like. Who's the king in Eldraine? The High King, Kenrith or whatever.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
I can't remember his first name.
Kenrith is a stupidly annoying card to play against. Okay. Kenrith is a stupidly annoying card to play against because it's just look at all this stuff I can do, and I don't know. I've gotten very frustrated. It's both generic and powerful. This is kind of like that, but to get benefit out of Aragorn, you actually want to play these different colors of spells. Whereas Kenrith is like, put me in a white deck that can tap for other colors of mana. So anyway, uh, Aragorn the Uniter for one of every non-black color: a red, a green, a white, and a blue.
So when someone asks, what color is Aragorn? You're like, well, he's not black because he's white, blue, red, green. That's the only way that Aragorn isn't black is appropriate.
Uh, he is a legendary human noble. I wonder if back in the day he would have been a lord, but we don't do lords anymore. Is this rare or mythic? I think that's mythic.
That's mythic.
Okay.
Yes.
Five for 4. There you go. Whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token.
Nice.
Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2.
Nice.
Whenever you cast a red spell, Aragorn the Uniter deals 3 damage to target opponent.
Nice.
Awesome.
Whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn.
Whew. Nice.
And these abilities go 1, 2, 3, 4, and he's a 5/5 at the bottom.
I did not even notice that. Huh.
And yet, each one still feels fairly balanced.
Yeah.
Possibly, well, no, I was going to say possibly not the red one because 3 is a lot, but it is just target opponent. If it was a free lightning bolt to.
Oh, yeah,
not
that would
free,
be busted.
Yeah. But these are all fairly well balanced. The fact that you get a 1/1 versus +4/+4 for a white versus a green spell, the 1/1, sticks around. The 4/4 is until in a turn, but is a huge swing. Whereas the 1/1 could be like an emergency blocker or whatever. So yeah.
And
so
it
again,
should be pointed out that if you cast a multicolored spell, all of the appropriate ones trigger. So if you cast a red-white spell, then you'll get a 1/1 token and 3 damage to an opponent.
and they trigger in this order, right? Because you go down a card when you cast a command or whatever, you do first bullet point, second bullet point, right? So
No, I think since you control the effect, you
get to pick.
Isn't that right, Mike?
Yeah, they're not all part of this. They're not all part of the same effect. If
Oh,
all of them are
that's
part
true.
of the same effect, then you would do it in order. But they're separate triggered abilities that are trying to go into the deck at the same time.
Yeah.
So you choose.
And again, because I felt like maybe I wasn't being clear, Kenrith is a good card, but to me, I've only seen him in super generic decks that only put him there because he's good. This is a super powerful card, but to get the full effect, you still need to explore this card in different ways. That I like. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as flavor, I mean, his whole thing is kind of like Gandalf bringing people together. He's the figurehead. He is meant to be the next king after decades and decades, possibly hundreds of years of not having a king. So he is the resurgence of the race of man, and so everybody is flocking to his banner. And at that same token, he also respects all these different people. So I think again, Unifier is perfect for this. So flavor wise, I think that's what we got going on.
Yeah. And he doesn't mess with the color black because I guess in this context, black is the orcs and Sauron and Mordor. So.
And at no point is he ever tempted, even when he's looking into the Palantir, which had gotten the best of a lot of people, including Saruman, who was not a bad guy at first, but it preyed on his pride. He's the only person that basically stared into the abyss and stared at the abyss, and the abyss blinked. So
that is a good way to put that. Yeah. Like just in the story of the Lord of the Rings, looking into Palantirs and having Sauron on the other side, got to Saruman, Denethor, and Pippin.
Yeah.
And yet Aragorn was like, psh, ain't nothing, and roared right back at him. Yeah, I like this card. I don't.
Me too.
I don't. I mean, it's cool, but it's nothing like super special. I don't think. Although someone in chat did say people are guessing this is going to get a day one ban. For what?
For what?
I don't understand.
Yeah.
It doesn't create any broken engine. It's just it's value all over the place, but
It's definitely value. But it also is a 4-color
invalidate other. It doesn't like invalidate other cards or like whole classes of permanents.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think like what you play him and then instantly gut shot the opponent and deal them 3 more. I'm trying to think of what the interaction is. Yeah, but is it broken?
You're broken. Ow! Ho! I'm sorry. Oh, a muscle in my back just decided that when I scratched my head, that it needed to make me go ow. Okay, what's next?
So I just realized, so I was wrong earlier about the saga with the Smaug token being in the commander set. It's in the set.
Oh,
it's in the set?
Oh, well, let's go to that then.
Okay.
It's there and back
red.
again.
It's the last card in the red section. There and back again. It is a saga. It has 3 chapters and it costs 5. It costs 3 and 2 red. So chapter 1 is up to 1 target creature can't block for as long as you control there and back again, and the ring tempts you.
So what is 1 target creature can't block? I guess that's, and the ring tempting it. Is that Bilbo slipping by
the goblins?
Yeah.
After he gets
slipping
ring?
by
That might be Bilbo
anybody?
discovering the ring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe getting past Gollum.
Maybe getting past Gollum. Ah, okay.
Yeah. Chapter 2, search your library for a mountain card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Get it?
Just the one. Just the one lonely one.
Yeah, because they get to the Lonely Mountain. Huh?
Yep. But it's just the one.
It's any mountain, and it's not default tapped. That's nice.
Yeah, it's not basic mountain, and it is not tapped. Yeah.
Finally, Chapter 3, create Smaug, a legendary 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying, haste, and when this creature dies, create 14 treasure tokens.
I love the flavor on that so hard.
Heck. Wow.
Because the dragon horde, of course, gets broken up into 14 parts.
14 different, 14 ways.
One for each of the 13 dwarves, and one for Bilbo.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I'm just stuck on this. I'm now picturing like cloning the Smaug token and just all the treasure forever. Just wow.
Yeah, if you have a chat pointed out, this saga and any token doubler is just ridiculous profit because you'll get a second Smaug, so one of them will die, so you'll get 14, 28 treasure tokens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this isn't broken because it's chapter 3 on a saga that doesn't have read ahead. But this just feels... This has my spidey sense tingling hard because you're getting, even without doublers or anything like that, you're putting 5 mana in and you're getting 14 mana at the end. I don't care about the dragon. The dragon's cool from a flavor perspective. I don't care about the dragon. You're getting 14 mana out of this. There's something going on with this card, I think. And I think this is one to watch out for. The only question is, does the fact that you don't get the payoff for 2 turns make it not work?
I mean, I don't think this is going to do anything special in like standard or anything, but
Well, you can't be in standard, right?
oh right, because this isn't standard legal.
Yeah.
Shut up, Chewy, idiot. Um, oh, Dirk.
Yep.
Wait, are we done with Aaron back again?
Yeah.
Okay, Dirk, you got to tell us about Smite the Deathless right above it.
Might the Deathless.
Yeah,
You want me to read it?
yeah.
All right. So for 1 and a red, Smite the Deathless is a common instant. Smite the Deathless deals 3 damage to target creature. That creature loses indestructible until end of turn. If that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Wow, this is the first time we've ever seen something remove indestructible.
Might have seen it before.
I'm pretty
But
sure.
it's
Yeah, it's but not on anything so simple. I don't think.
Yeah,
It's
not
a
on
com-
like,
it-
not on
it's
a
a
common
common.
removal spell.
Yeah.
And the flavor text just says, "No living man am I," and it's Eowyn and Pippin, taking out. Sorry, is that Pippin?
Witch King.
Yeah.
No, that's Mary. Sorry.
No, Mary. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Mary is
it's
the...
Eowyn and Mary taking out the freaking Witch King of Angmar, the leader of the ring wraiths,
No, it's cool.
and that makes me happy. And as the Discord pointed out, both versions of the Witch King that we've seen have 3 toughness and are indestructible. So Smite the Deathless kills them both. But this is so like simple, and yet the flavor is just like, oh, it's delicious.
Yeah. For a second, I was actually thinking like, why isn't this a story spotlight card? I'm like, well, kind of the whole point of this is to be.
Yeah, I think the whole set is a story spotlight card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would be, but yeah. Just like how,
Yeah.
Cast into the Fire would absolutely be a story spotlight card, but, you know,
Ooh, what's that?
it all is. Cast into the Fire, for 1 and a red, it's another common, it's an instant. Choose one. Cast into the Fire deals 1 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures, or exile target artifact. It shows the unmaking of the ring.
Wow. I hadn't seen that one yet. Again, it's so simple. And if you're just reading the card without any knowledge of Lord of the Rings, you're like, oh, that's fine. But if you like know Lord of the Rings, you're like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Because the 1 damage to each of 2 target creatures, that's Frodo and Gollum. And then exiling target artifact is, the unmaking of the ring. And unmake? What Brian said? Unmake is a card that says exile something?
Yep. And in the set, it's the only way to really deal with the indestructible 1 ring. So.
Oh,
it may
it's
not be
so
the
good.
only way, but yeah.
Oh, here's a Witch King in black. It's actually just named Witch King of Angmar. For 3 black is a 5/3 Wraith Noble that's mythic with flying. And whenever 1 or more creatures deals combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn. What? Oh, okay,
That's
so
right.
it's not all of them, but one of them
No.
that hits you has to die. Okay. And then the ring tempts you. And you can discard a card to give him indestructible until end of turn, and he taps.
Attack you. You've got the Witch King, and I attack you with two twos, and for whatever reason you have to let them through. I hit you for 4, but then I have to sacrifice 1 of my creatures.
Yeah.
That's bad. That makes attacking with a single creature even worse because it specifies that you have to sacrifice 1 of the creatures that actually dealt damage. And what's horrible for you is you're like, okay, I've got enough creatures I can make this work. You attack, and the Witch King's owner has like a destroy spell or something, and all of a sudden the math gets horrible for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this feels vicious, which is appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, dude. We should talk about Treebeard.
You mean Fanghorn?
There we go. I was like, hang on, he's not called Treebeard. I couldn't remember. Because Fangorn is his, like, I think, proper name. Hey, Dirk, you want to tell us about Treebeard? I mean, Fangorn? I mean, Steve?
Angorn, Tree Shepherd. 4 and 3 green. So a grand total of 7 mana. A 4/10 legendary creature, Tree Folk, that's rare. Tree Folk you control have vigilance. Whenever one or more Tree Folk you control attack, add twice that much green mana. You don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end.
This is... It's just so good on so many ways. Like, you don't lose the mana because Ents, Treebeard, seemingly, especially, are not in any hurry to do anything. So you don't have to spend the mana right now, because that would be being hasty. If there's one
I just
thing
wish there was.
Treebeard isn't,
Yeah.
it's hasty.
Yeah, I'm just missing the part of the text that says Fanghorn can't have haste. Just
That would
I'm
be
missing that.
hilarious. But yeah, I love it so much. Where are all the elves? Have they just not shown us that many yet? Because there's Legolas. And that's literally it.
I guess so.
As of this recording in the card image gallery.
Yeah,
Alright.
I don't like. We haven't seen. Oh, what's his name? That he was played by
Glorfindel?
Agent Smith. Yeah, no.
Oh, Elrond.
Elrond. Thank you.
What's that? Agent Smith. I see what you did there. So, hey, Dirk, you want to tell us about Legolas while we're here? Because it's an elf, and if you didn't read it, then it would just be awful.
Legolas, Master Archer for 1 and 2 green. So grand total of 3 mana. He's a 1/4 legendary creature, elf archer that's rare, and has reach. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Legolas, Master Archer, put a +1/+1 counter on Legolas. And it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you don't control, Legolas deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 target creature.
So targeting Legolas makes him bigger, and targeting other people's stuff makes Legolas shoot at them.
Sounds about right. Pew
So-
pew pew.
If you haven't powered him up yet, he only deals 1 damage. But if you power him up by targeting him with spells, then yeah, he is definitely a pew pew gun.
Especially pump spells. Like, if you pump him up, he'll get a counter and get the power boost for the end of the turn, and then you can do something else to target something else, and he'll have a big shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not number of counters, it's power. Which my brain made it number of counters the first time I read the card, and I was like, that's pretty good. And then I realized, no, it's way better than that. Yeah. Again, the flavor on this is just ridiculous. Like, we've even got Farmer Maggot's dogs.
Yeah,
What?
that's some
What?
attention to detail right there.
Oh, and their names were Grip and Fang. I did not remember that. Huh. Real quick, for one and a green, there are two dogs. It's called Mushroom Watchdogs. And you sacrifice a food to put a +1/+1 counter on Mushroom Watchdogs. It gains vigilance until end of turn. And activate only as a sorcery.
That's good.
That actually is a good card, yeah. Especially for a common. Wow. But those are so when they bump into Merry and Pippin, they were stealing mushrooms from Farmer Maggot or something like that. I'm getting my book and my movie confused, but I know at one point they're stealing mushrooms from Farmer Maggot, and he turns the dogs on them. Okay, what else? Should we read a couple more Gandalfs or some Frodos or some? There are multiple versions of everybody in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's two of everyone important, right?
At least.
Pretty sure, at least. But I saw a card that really got my attention. It is not a character.
Ooh, what is it?
It is Storm of Saruman.
That's in blue, right?
It's in blue. It's an enchantment. It's mythic. It has Ward of 3. So you might go, oh, it's an enchantment. Is it? And it's protecting itself. That's interesting. For 4 and 2 blue. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, does not say non-creature spell. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. You may choose new targets for the copy.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That seems a bit ridiculous. The opponent's going to see this coming, but the nice thing is, like, if they're like, okay, I'm just going to naturalize it, that's going to be their whole turn with the Ward 3.
Also, if you have enough mana, Storm of Saruman is your first spell.
It is.
So, like, if you've got enough mana or treasures or whatever, you can go Storm of Saruman, something else that you want to copy.
You mean like if I had 14 treasures? How would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, Storm of Saruman is silly. We'll go with silly.
Oh man, your first card. Okay, well, all right. I'm gonna say you probably don't have enough mana for this right away, but you play Storm of Saruman, you do whatever, and then next turn you play something fairly cheap, and then you cast Witch King of Angmar and have 2 of them.
That seems kind of silly.
Yeah.
Because they won't be
pretty much
legendary, see?
Yeah, pretty much any legendary creature here, you're gonna be is legendary for a reason. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't really done anything in blue. Oh, there's Bill Fernie.
And the art on Storm of Saruman is amazing. But yes, and
this is him. What is he doing here? I was thinking
he's crouched up on top of a gate or something.
I don't know.
He looks like he's.
I assume he's on the roof of Orthanc, but I don't remember him calling down meteors at any point. Oh, Storm of Star. This is him when he was summoning the storm to hit them on top of what's the damn mountain again, Dirk?
Haradris.
Thank you.
Oh, maybe.
I got so confused. I thought we switched topics to another card. Okay.
The flavor text though seems to indicate that he's doing this to Isengard. So maybe to like clear it out to grow more orcs.
I don't know. Weird.
You thought we'd switch to Bill Fernie?
Yeah.
I was gonna, and then Brian still had things to say about Storm.
Well, I just wanted to mention the art, but otherwise I'm good.
So okay, Bill Ferny. He sucks.
He's
So-
throwing money up in his left hand.
Yeah. So Bill Ferny, Bree Swindler, for 1 and a blue, is a 2/1 legendary human rogue he's a human? Oh right, because they're in Bree, who is uncommon. So when he becomes blocked, you choose one. You create a treasure token, or target opponent gains control of target horse you control. If they do, you remove Bill Ferny from combat and create 3 treasure tokens.
I mean, yeah, this is what the character does, but it's lore accurate to the point of being like, what? Which I'm okay with. Don't get me wrong. I am fine with this, but it does make you go, what?
Yeah,
I've
I
gotta
think
think.
that second bullet point there was really just for the flavor. Like the first
Yeah.
one is
Oh,
what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, because if it was just the second bullet point, it would be just the dumbest card.
Every time this attacks, I have to sell someone a horse.
Yeah, what he does is he overcharges them for a pony.
Yeah.
Because they're in desperate need. I think like their ponies or something went missing, and the only one around was this other one who was kind of sickly and pitiful, and he
Yeah.
overcharged them by a lot. I feel like that's what I can't remember specifically.
I believe you're correct. Yeah. That's the gist of it, if not like absolutely beat by beat. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And they named that pony Bill to spite the dude, and he ended up being a wonderful companion, and then lived a happy, fat and happy life with like Tom Bombadil's ponies or something like that.
Like 2 days after they got him, he was like moving better and fattening up because Bill's a horrible person.
Yeah,
So
but he was like, wasn't he one of the agents of Sauron in Bree or something?
I think I don't know that he was. I think he was basically selling them out to the Nazgul and the other agents.
Oh, he was an agent
from
of
Mordor.
Saruman, chat said. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to the Black Aragorn and true to the source material thing, Tolkien was kind of racist.
I mean,
Because, like, in Bree, there was a person who was very definitely an agent of Saruman, and he was constantly referred to as the swarthy fellow. And swarthy means dark-skinned. And also, anyone who's not from this part of Middle-earth is bad. The Haradrim and the Easterlings and whatnot, all of those people, So maybe it's fine to make Aragorn black. Because there's a very distinct the white folk are good, and everyone else is an outsider and is bad and is working for the enemy who's trying to kill us all. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Not that I don't like, unlike Lovecraft, who I think built that into his work on purpose. I just think that was the way of things in Britain at the time.
Yeah, I feel like
The fear of the other.
This
Yeah.
was the standard background level of old timey racism.
Yeah, I don't think there was any
But when
extra.
you're talking about someone like H.P. Lovecraft, like even his contemporaries thought he was like backwards and laying it on too thick.
Yeah. So, and I know that's not Bill Ferny, but I'm pretty sure Bill Ferny was buddies with that swarthy out of towner or something. I can't remember how he was other than swarthy. Is always swarthy. And I remember looking it up in a dictionary because I got Lord of the Rings, back in middle school, and I kept going, what does that mean? Because I thought it meant like like beady-eyed or something. And I went, no, it means he's brown. Oh my god. Oh, and here's the
But
saga
yeah,
that chat was telling us about. Oh, sorry, keep going.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. And here's the saga that chat was telling us about, the bath song. Because everybody sings all the time in Lord of the Rings. Everybody sings all the time.
Yes.
If there's a character, they were either at some point, if there's a character who's on more than like 4 pages, they definitely sang a song that Tolkien wrote out all the stanzas.
You should have heard me reading The Lord of the Rings to Sam.
I would have killed to hear you get to the Tom Bombadil section.
I usually spoke just kind of in this voice. I did not, send my voice up and down.
That's too bad.
So what's the bath song actually do?
I don't know. What does the bath song actually do?
For 3 and a blue, it's a saga. It's uncommon. Chapters 1 and 2 are both draw 2 cards, then discard a card. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then chapter 3 is shuffle any number of target cards from your graveyard into your library. Add 2 blue to your mana pool. They don't say that anymore. So you're discarding those cards. Well, they go back into your library if you want. It's a number. And a little bit of blue because it's a bath. So have all this blue. Remember that this blue does go away at the end of your main phase. So unlike Fanghorn or something.
Even if you've got Fanghorn out, because he only cares about green mana.
True. I guess if you've got Omnath out, it'll turn black. But
Nom nom.
nom. Neat little card. It's an uncommon.
Yeah. But it's a bath song. I don't remember when there was a bath song. I'm not going to lie. But I know there was one. There might have been more than one. Huh. We've been going for a while now.
Quite a while.
And our woke rant in the middle sort of took up a bunch of our card reading time, but I think that was worth it. So
yeah, do we want to stop here? And there's plenty more to come back to next week. Plus, I'm sure they'll have given us more. When does the set come out? This will be at the top, doesn't it? It releases June 23rd.
Okay. I was informed by chat we had to read one card before we stopped.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get Mike to read Shadowfax in gold.
Shadowfax in gold. Scroll. All right. Wonder how many horses are actually in this set. Probably not as many as I would like. So Shadowfax, Lord of Horses. 3 red, white for a 4/4 legendary horse who is uncommon.
Wow, I did not notice the rarity.
Mm-hmm.
He is not a lord, but it's in his name. All right, keep going.
There was a thing that said there would be a horse, like a list of creature types, and we figured out what all of them were. Although we had, in the Discord, we had 2 of them reversed because our ideas of knight and soldier are different than Magic's ideas of knight and soldier. But one of them was horse noble, and we were like, well, that's clearly Shadowfax. So there must be another Shadowfax that we don't have yet.
There must be.
So what's this one do?
So a 4/4 for 5. Horses you control have haste. That's nice. Whenever Shadowfax, Lord of Horses, attacks, you may put a creature card with lesser power. Remember, this starts at 4. From your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It doesn't go back to your hand. It doesn't get exiled at the end of the turn. It's just there.
Yeah. Now, I think since we've been recording, there wasn't a horse noble. There was a bird noble. Oh, okay. Thank you, Donovan Bain.
That would be the Eagles, probably.
Well, that'll be Gwai here, yeah. But, so maybe there isn't another Shadowfax. So, while we've been doing the show, I think, possibly the pre-show, or it might have been earlier, it doesn't matter. Stark, of course, it had to be Stark, in the Discord, pointed out that Shadowfax actually has the reminder text for haste, thus showing us the meaning of haste. Which, for those of you that aren't laughing, in the movie, and possibly in the book too, when Gandalf was like, all right, the Shadowfax, you got to get me and Pippin to Gondor super in a hurry. So he goes, come Shadowfax, show us the meaning of haste. And and they go. And it just, that's so funny that it actually has the meaning. He shows us the meaning of haste. I don't quite get the second part. Is that just because whoever's riding him shows up too?
Yeah, that's part of transporting people into battle. Getting them into the action. Getting them from here to there.
And if they're going to fit on his back, they got to have a little less power.
They got to be less power. Okay, they got to be smaller. I get it. Huh.
That's
oh my god.
D&D rule is a creature can't mount another creature unless the mount is bigger. What were you going to say?
Donovan Bain in the chat says, it's not a coincidence because this is the first time they've printed out Haste's reminder text in 3 years. Are you for real?
He does, in fact, show us the meaning, doesn't he?
That doesn't...
I mean, it's been...
it has been evergreen forever.
Long time, very long time.
Like, they don't put reminder text for flying on things anymore. So... Huh.
Okay. Gandalf the White is too big to ride Shadowfax.
Oh, Gandalf White Rider, he said in the chat. There's a card named Gandalf White Rider, apparently.
Oh, okay. Is that one of the commander cards?
But
Gandalf, Friend of the Shire, can ride Shadowfax.
Let's see. How many Gandalfs do we have? We've got Gandalf the White, who's a 4/5. Gandalf Friend of the Shire is a 2/4. And Gandalf the Grey is a 3/4.
Oh, I missed Gandalf the Grey.
He's in multicolored.
Aha.
So wait, is there another one that we haven't seen, or did you just misremember the name? Because holy crap. Or he might be in the commander set. Either way, that's a lot of Gandalf. Although that is pretty much the 3 parts of Gandalf that we see. Friend of the Shire when he's just a crazy old wizard who does fireworks. Gandalf the Grey, who is the wizard. And then Gandalf the White, who is the more bigger, better, badder Gandalf.
Okay.
We
can rebuild him.
This other Gandalf just hasn't made it to the card image gallery yet.
Yeah, because he gave us a link. And it is Gandalf White Rider, who's a 3/3.
It has this expansion symbol for the regular set.
Yeah, that's this set. So yeah, there are at least 4 Gandalfs in the set. Buh. We'll read all those later. But we had to read Shadowfax because of the Gandalfs. Sorry. I hate you. Also, we had to read Shadowfax because today is the first day of Pride, and if you look in the background, there's a rainbow in Shadowfax. Yay. Gandalfs. You go to hell. I'm only jealous because I didn't think of it first. So I'm pretty sure we'll come back to this next week because we've barely scratched the surface. Like, there's so much.
And it's all so deep.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. There's a question. Can all of them go in the same deck with one of them as the commander? No. Because Gandalf the Grey is blue-red, and the other 2 are white. That we've seen thus far. No, wait. One of them's blue, right? Yeah, Friend of the Shire is blue. Mm-hmm. But the other 2 are white. So No, the two pre-death Gandalfs can go in a deck, and the two post-death Gandalfs can go in a commander deck, but they can't all go together if one of them is the commander. Which I think is actually a flavor hit, because then you'd get a time paradox, and then the world would end. Anyway, so are you guys good with stopping for this episode?
I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap it up then. Dirk, what you got for the thoughts that are at the end, the appendices, if you will?
There's a lot in here that is definitely not just Lord of the Rings ish, and that will be something to discuss next time. A lot of the stuff that it's in the universe, but it definitely takes place way before. So, be fun to talk about.
Are those all on sagas?
Let me find.
Like one ring to rule them all,
No.
and
Because I had to look it up to make sure it was who I thought it was.
Oh. Now I'm curious.
The card is Tenuvial.
The Tale of Tenuvial?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a saga.
Okay.
Because the sagas were used for stories, like history, stories, tales, songs, that sort of thing. So all of them were mentioned in Lord of the Rings, or else they wouldn't be in the set. But they didn't happen in, like Dirk said, like the Tenuvial takes place in the Silmarillion, right? I think so, anyway.
Tenuvial is Luthien.
Yeah, but the lay of Beren and Luthien, that's in the that's in the Silmarillion, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But because they were mentioned in Lord of the Rings, they could get saga cards in here. Because he does Aragorn does tell this story, I'm pretty sure, while the hobbits are camping, I want to say, like they're on the way to Rivendell? Or maybe while they're at Rivendell?
They are. I don't remember if they do in the book.
But yeah, just like the War of the Last Alliance was mentioned in the book, but it is not. The Last Alliance is not from Lord of the Rings, but it takes place. It's mentioned there. I mean, even There and Back Again is just The Hobbit, which is not Lord of the Rings, but it was mentioned, so it gets a card. It's a really clever loophole, actually. So yeah.
But yeah, that's my final thought. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. A lot of reference to stuff that is not itself Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah.
part of the lore. And with that, I have to go to bed.
All right. Night, Zerk.
Not everybody.
Good night.
Ooh, there are wargs. Sorry.
are they warg or are they wolves?
The title is warg. The creature type is wolf.
Okay.
The title, the name, the title. You know, Steve of the warg. What?
Steve, yes.
Oh, we didn't talk about the common that's gonna be infinite combolicious. Well, we'll do that next week.
You'll have to tell me which one that is, but let's. Dirk left, we'll save it.
Yeah.
For my final thought, my family's had some illness lately. Dad wasn't doing great, but has bounced back. But my dad is a vivacious kind of guy. He just turned 80 in April, and you would not guess it because he just keeps himself busy. He loves home projects. And so when he got sick a couple weeks ago and he hadn't gotten better, it was a bit troubling. But he's bounced back pretty well. We saw him at the soccer game tonight, and and he's doing better. I've been sick for feels like weeks, and you've heard me coughing slash sneezing slash everything, but I am now doing better. So feeling like things are on the mend, and I am happy about that. So hopefully everybody else out there is doing well. Set looks great. Again, I know we've said this before. We're still having issues with some of the things that Wizards decides to do, but the card design is still top notch. It really is. And I will say this: while some people might have issues with the what's the phrase they're using for these other, like when they're drawing from other
Universes
sources?
beyond.
Yeah, some people might be like, that's not, magic or whatever. I mean, we have explored this concept on this show for years, starting with the episode Would Solid Snake Have Shroud? Because we've been like, magic as a rule set is so fascinating to try to plug these other properties into. We've talked about video games, books, movies, uh, TV shows, everything that we could think of. Haven't had a segment of that show for a while, but I don't know if at this point, like, I'm sure I would repeat stuff we've already said. So it's an interesting thought exercise. And when these designers have talent and they get a property like this, it's really interesting to see how they apply it. And the attention to detail is incredible. So, looking forward to reading more of these next week. Um, if the pre-release is in 2 weeks, that probably means I won't be going to one because I believe that I will be with family that weekend. But, um, but still enjoying reading about all this, and you know, uh, actually got to see the guys 2 weeks ago and play some Magic in person for the first time in forever. Was that 2 weeks ago? Or was that last week? I have
Who
lost
even
all.
knows?
It was 2 week. It was 2 weeks ago, somehow, because time is weird. But it was fun to play Magic in person. So who knows? Maybe I'll get some of these cards at some point and make some food. Oh yeah. But that's what I got. I'm kind of rambling at this point. I'm also gonna head out. You gentlemen have a fantastic night, and thanks everybody for listening. Yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, having a Black Aragorn and more diversity and all that is really good. It still doesn't change the fact that they, sent the Pinkertons after a dude for opening cards on a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 2 steps to the side. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
equivalent or not,
So
but
yeah, we're all happy about that, but we're still mad about that other thing. Like it's both are are possible.
yeah.
We are capable of feeling many emotions at once.
Take your wins where you can get them. All right, night everybody.
Night B,
Right.
what you got there, Beardy Man?
Um, Not much specific. Um, I I hope there isn't so much food that it makes limited super slow, but maybe that'll give people enough time to play around with the ring abilities and the legendary creatures and stuff. So yeah, maybe it'll be for the better. Um,
Oh God, I always think about all of the other stuff that cares about food. I forget that food itself is just life gain.
yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I was like, why would that slow? Oh,
Yeah, because it makes scores go the opposite direction of what makes the game end. um, I'm really interested in the the basic land cycling cycle where they only cost one. That feels like good stuff.
it does.
Hmm.
Of all the things to be
Think
excited about, Mike is so cute.
well, I mean, it's good for limited. I suddenly had a thought like that be depending on how much the green one costs, that could be another angle for that very silly 7-land modern Goblin Charbelcher deck that I played a few times here and there.
Oh my god.
Because, if it's a solid creature, it could be a backup plan. If it's a solid creature that costs 7 or less, it could be a backup plan.
I mean, he's not wrong. Only you, Mike.
Probably. Yeah, like Brian said, it's really interesting to get into this after we've, done so much independent discussion of our own about, what would it look like? What would it do? What kind of things would they explore? And now we get to see officially what they would do and what kinds of effects they would come up with and explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way they're not afraid to make multiple versions of all the characters so they don't have to try to encapsulate like everything about this character in this one card.
Yeah, that is a good call. Just going ahead and showing people at different points in the story or just different takes on them, different facets of their character or personality.
Yeah. I like it.
Yep.
Also, it seems like all of the different versions are in different colors, too.
A lot of them. The other important legendary characters, I think a lot of them have a monocolor version and a multicolored version.
Yeah. Like, except for the
very...
2 white Gandalfs, I haven't seen any 2 versions of anybody that are in the same color.
Mm-mm.
Like, Sam is in white, but Sam is in green-white. Saruman is in blue, but Saruman is in gold.
Yep.
All of the hobbits are in... Or the other hobbits are in green, or the 2, I mean, Merry and Pippin. But their other versions are in multicolored.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that also helps that you don't have, this green Pippin and that green Pippin. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it, I suppose.
All right. As for me, I'm still not gonna buy or play any of this, but I'm just fascinated by the exercise of seeing what they did with it, like Brian said. It's pretty neat. Can't wait for the MCU universes beyond. I can totally wait for that, by the way. That is not a hint. They're Wizards and Disney. Please don't, actually. But anyway. Oh, what else? I have a sneeze. There it was. Excuse me. Sorry. Ow. Crap. What are we doing? That, blew out part of my brain. So, patreon.com/themanapool to support, what we do here with the show and the streaming and the whatnot. And the sneezing, apparently. Ow. So, yeah, let me just read off the Mythic Lifeguards before my eyeball falls out. So, let me thank our Mythic Lifeguards in, I don't know, this order. Al, Team Hellas Haru, Scuzzo, Beardy Man, Pinball Witch, John Parker, Andrew Odie, Jason. No. No, okay. I'm not allergic to Jasons. Jason Kaus, Casey, Jake Jansons, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Jason Doan. Oh my god, am I allergic to Jasons? Okay. Whew. Where did I stop? Jason Doan, yeah. Andrew Hunt, Kim Ho, Cody Buckowing, and ALK. He's not a Jason. ALK Alters. Oh my god. Alright, we're gonna have to end this before I die. So, this has been episode 679 of the Mana Pool. And yeah, I have nothing else to add. So I'll count the whole woke ramble earlier as my final thought. So happy Pride one more time. Trans rights are human rights. Don't erase bisexual people, because apparently that's a thing, which I don't understand. And yeah. No one is transing your kids. K. Not that, anyone that would need to be told that is still listening. So. But yeah, episode 679, as I said multiple times, of the Mana Pool. Thank you all so very much for listening, and don't be hasty.